Just a couple of redneck amigos full of BS reviewing bourbon, tequila, rum, beer, and more. Boozy Spirits.
Welcome back to the podcast. What's going on, Matt?
Not much.
I hadn't seen you in a while.
It feels like I've been gone for a long time.
So
Glad to be back.
No, finally. So we got Ashley with us, Ashley Coston from MadVines.
Yeah, hello again. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, no, she's our second time on here.
That's right.
First
Person to come twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's true.
With Wonderbird Gin. We talked,
Yes.
drank gin and talked gin for
That was
an
an
hour.
awesome show. I watched that.
A lot of people like that one.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
a good one. So what you got for us today?
Well, today I have
fancy.
quite the treat as well. So, of course, another small brand. That's all that MadVines distributes. And Starlight, I've got a really incredible lineup for you today. Starlight Distillery is in Starlight, Indiana. And most folks, when you're talking Indiana and whiskey, and you see distilled in Indiana on the back of a bottle, everyone just immediately thinks MGP. And often that's the case. That's tons of folks are sourcing from there. And nothing wrong with that. They make some good stuff as long as you're sourcing and you're honest about it.
Yeah.
A lot of small distilleries will start out sourcing while their own comes of age because they got to have some cash flow while they're sitting on whiskey. The goal, is 4 years. But Starlight makes their own. They do everything actually right there on their property. They grow their own grain, they ferment, they distill, they age, they bottle, which is pretty incredible to do all that. That's not commonly found. You'll see some distilleries, but in the small craft world, that's not common.
Yeah.
They have been getting some great attention. As you can see, this little tag here, Ascot Awards, which that's Fred Minnick's Awards, if you're familiar with him. Big whiskey reviewer. We always say he kind of gives brands like an Oprah effect. So if he gives you a good shout out, everyone's like, ooh, I got to try that.
Awesome.
So I'm really happy for them to have got that 2022 Craft Distiller of the Year. So let me tell you a little bit about the history of Starlight. Or do we want to pour one and then talk a little more?
We can sip.
Start with this.
So I'll talk about that first one there. That's their flagship bottle, the Carl T. Huber's signature bourbon, named after, I think it's the great-great-great-grandfather was Carl T. Huber. So the Huber family is who owns this distillery, and they're in the 7th generation distilling. And let's see. I think it's right at 4 years. This one's aged. The proof, I can't remember. I'll see the bottle when you put it down.
92.
92. Yeah. So I want you, before
good.
I say anything else, y'all taste it and see what you think.
Got a really good smell to it.
Does it?
So these are all available in Alabama now, correct? Through MadVines.
Well, yes, certainly through MadVines to stock. I'll always give that shout out. If you like them, just email me. Ashley at madvines.com.
There you go.
Ashley with a Y. A child of the 80s. Had the Ashley with a Y, the Ashley with a
double E.
The EIGH.
Ashlyn.
Yep, that's true.
So I was Ashley C in school.
Okay. I'll put it in the description. I'll put
Ashley
your
C.
email in there. Make sure.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait. I'll get it straight on the description. So
Yeah,
you got it.
okay. So let's see. What was I saying?
It's really good.
I got distracted by the whiskey. It's really good,
It
right?
is good. It really is.
It's so flavorful. And the nose is incredible. So they were originally founded back in 1843. They started out as a farm, and just a fruit farm. And still are today. Actually, they make some pretty incredible fruit wines, which we're hoping to bring into Alabama in the spring.
Oh, very cool.
And, most of the fruit wine really that you find has a whole bunch of sugar added, a lot of time fake flavors, and it's just this sickeningly sweet, like overwhelming kind of wine. It's not, you can't get past just the sugar typically. And so it's not too common to have fruit wines around here that have like a nice acid balance, and they're sweetened like only delicately so that you can get the quality of the fruit. And so I'm really excited to have those in Alabama in the spring. But that's how they started out, and then they, Prohibition came around. So after Prohibition, when they started back up with the wine producing, they did that for a while, for a long while, and not until 2001 did they do their first spirit, and that was brandy. So they were taking that fruit and leftover fruit and making brandy. And so eventually, and the distillers, the family, they were mentored by Dave Pickerel. You guys familiar with him? Legendary distiller, Maker's Mark.
Did the blackened whiskey, right?
Yep. I think that was the last one
before he passed away.
Yeah, which is actually really good whiskey.
Yeah, we tried it.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes ago.
We did.
Oh yeah, you just tried it? Yeah,
I've had it before, but he's never had it, so we popped it open.
Well, it kind of has like that whole. Looks gimmicky, like with the whole age to Metallica music and whatnot. But I mean, Metallica didn't make it.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, maybe they're incredible distillers. I don't know, but they didn't make it.
Yeah. Technically, they made it good with their music. That's how they just.
Well, there's some science to that, like to the effects of the sound waves, like the vibrations driving the whiskey into the barrel.
In and out of the barrel wood.
And in the world of wine, it's been used too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Metallica fan, so as soon as they came out with that, I jumped on it.
Yeah. No, it's good. I tried it, and I was like, oh, dang. I didn't.
They have a allocated one that just came out that they did with Rabbit Hole Distiller. They aged it. I don't know the name, but it was some kind of apple brandy cask they aged it in.
Okay.
It was phenomenal. We bought it during the Auburn game. I was going to bring Matt some to try. We drank the whole bottle before I could bring it over.
I never got that.
Oh.
It was a good occasion. It says on there, like, only drink this particular one, like, for good times or something. I was like, what's the Alabama Auburn game? It was getting tense, so we just kept pouring.
I guess you couldn't blame him there, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
He gets it honest. I promise you.
Let's see. So, okay, what I was saying is the availability of the whiskey. That's what we were talking about. So, right now, quite a few ABC stores in the state carry the one we're drinking, their flagship, and the blackberry flavored one, which we'll get to here, a little bit, flavored with their own blackberries and a little bit of sugar. Really well done. The others, the special treats here, those are some limited. This one's very limited releases. Some single barrels. This is a MadVines pick.
Cool.
They are not currently, to my knowledge, in any package stores. Not ABC stores either. And ABC has a lot of changes going down where you're going to see less and less and less and less small craft items on ABC shelves. And I can tell you more about kind of what's happening there in a minute. There are a few places who have brought these in, but the bars or restaurants, but I'm not aware of any current package stores where you can buy these. That being said, if anybody listening, watching is interested, this is definitely something that someone could talk to their local package store and say, hey, I'm really interested in these. Will you bring them in?
Okay, cool. That's what I was talking to Bree Fifth and Handle about, that if he wanted to split something with me or whatever.
I'm headed over after I see y'all
cool.
to try to catch him and taste him on these. We were talking about him before.
Okay,
so
awesome.
Yeah, I think he's picking up a few things, a few local. We were talking about Nashville Barrel Company,
That's a good
another one of our brands. Yeah.
You need to go see Rashawn too at Home Package Store.
Okay.
Like 100 yards up the road from here.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to do that.
He just redid that whole entire store, and he's got everything you can think of. So.
Okay.
And he did that Old Forester single barrel pick over there. He's got his own barrel
nice.
pick.
Okay.
So he would probably definitely. I'll give
I
you his
love Old
contact.
Forester too. Yeah. That's one of my favorites.
I'll give you his contact info. He would definitely be on board.
Yeah.
He likes getting all kind of stuff for
Cool.
his new store.
He does a great job too.
He
He's
does.
got lots of advertising and social media. He is out there.
Yeah.
So it's.
He's doing a Jack Daniels pick in February. He got me and Matt to go do it for him.
Okay.
He's like, "You want to go for me? I can't go." We're like, "Okay."
Nice.
Yeah, twist my arm.
I've done some barrel picks too. That's always fun.
I'll give you his contact before you leave. So
Okay, cool.
Another good
Yeah,
one.
I'll hit him up for sure. So let's see. I didn't talk about the mash bill. I think they do a blend of two. Yeah, they have a 3 grain and a 4 grain mash. So I'll talk a little bit. I'll throw in a little bit of like explanations about some of this whiskey lingo. I always like to keep that in mind for people who are like, "What? Wait, can we cuss on here? We can cuss, right? You said that." For people who are like, "What the hell are they talking about? Like, what's a mash bill? What's a bottled and bond and all that? Because nobody's born knowing this stuff."
Yeah.
So mash bill just meaning the recipe of the grains that's used, and 3 grain, 4 grain, whatever. Like most folks, that's how many grains they're putting in there at least. Also, you'll see small batch a lot of the time. These have it too. Well, this says signature, but Actually, no, cigar batch. Maybe they don't. Anyway, y'all know what I mean. A lot of the whiskeys you'll see small batch. That's not a regulated term, so it doesn't really mean too much. Yeah, one distillery could be mixing 100 barrels and saying it's small batch, and another one could literally just be mixing 2 and saying it's small batch. So doesn't really kind of like slapping natural on something. Yeah. In the food world, but anyway, this one says their signature recipe, and it is so. But it is a mix of 3 grain and 4 grain, and the 3 grain is 60% corn, 20% rye. Yeah, so they're both high rye. That's what I was thinking. 20% rye for both of those recipes in this blend, and one of them, actually both of them have 20% malted barley, which is a decent amount of malted barley for a bourbon, and one of the recipes has 9% wheat. So a little bit of wheat in there. Of course, wheat helps to add a little brightness to bourbons, I feel like. Maker's Mark is wheated, tons of wheat. And that's what makes it bright and soft and kind of light and easy. So this has just a little bit, but, and let's see, aged minimum of 4 years. And bourbon, of course, has to be aged in new char oak. That's part of the regulation. And so it is. And when you see things like the double oaked, double barreled, let's see what else. They all mean the same thing. Finished with rye and bourbon. Rye to American rye has to be aged in a new char oak barrel as well. And so double oaked, double barreled, finished, whatever, just means it's been put into a secondary barrel.
Yeah, it starts out in the new barrel, then they can move it to something different to finish it off.
Yeah. Which makes it, oftentimes gives it a nice, it depends on the barrel, of course, but a lot of times gives it a little bit more sweetness, kind of softens it up. So that being said, I guess we'll move on to the next one.
That's a good one. I give it probably, I don't want to shoot my shot too early, but I give it 2 thumbs up. Thumb up and a half.
I don't really want to pour mine out, I'm just going to say, but
just drink.
But we got a lot more whiskey, and I got to drive back to Birmingham, so I'm going to be responsible.
Got your dump cup there.
Definitely a thumbs up, for sure.
I haven't been out to Starlight yet. I've heard it's very beautiful. It's apparently a huge tour destination.
Oh, really? Awesome.
Like they do a massive amount of people come through there.
Add that to the list.
And it's 20 minutes, something like that from Louisville.
Okay,
so
cool.
it's not
very
far.
Close.
Yeah.
That one's so different.
Yeah, so what you have here is a very limited release they do. I think they do it once a quarter, called their cigar batch. And it's finished. What are you laughing about?
His reaction to it.
The smell is amazing.
It's so different.
It is. It is, right?
Yes.
It's so awesome. I love it. They've actually, Christian Huber, one of the sons, who's it's a family kind of endeavor, so they definitely all contribute. But Christian, I was listening to him on another interview, and he was talking about his studies in viticulture and enology. There we go. I get hung up on that. And so he spent a lot of time in the wine world, and which is very. They go at it in different ways than whiskey, really kind of fine tuning, I guess, just to sum it up. And that's what it really comes through in their whiskeys to me. Like the aromas are very unique. There are complexities to it that I don't get in a lot of whiskey. So this is finished, and so it's released. I think they do some kind of cigar whiskey event once a quarter or something, and they release it there. And this is finished in Amburana oak barrels, which comes from a specific Brazilian tree that's protected, and you can't cut it down. You can only utilize it when it falls naturally, and so it's rare to see spirits aged in that type of oak. Cachaça sometimes, which is a type of rum specifically from Brazil, you'll see that sometimes aged in it. But this was the first whiskey I've had aged in Amburana. And
it's very, very unique. Totally different flavor.
What kind of notes y'all get from it? I want to hear what you got to say.
It's like a vanilla-y.
See that.
When the first on the nose is a little perfume smell almost. It's hard to describe. It's so unique.
What about
smell
you?
like a cigar and then spice.
Yeah.
To me, it's very spicy.
Yeah, it is. It does have some leathery
Yes.
spice to it.
Yeah.
I get and I couldn't put this into words until someone else I was tasting with told me, and coconut.
That's it.
Like once she
Yep.
said it, I was like, there is a lot of coconut.
There is, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Unique.
And like kind of almost like dark chocolate.
Yeah, a little banana.
So yeah, banana, like
Got a lot
maybe
going
sea
on.
salt caramel kind of.
yeah.
Really good,
It's
right?
Yeah.
completely unique.
And the proof on this one, let's see. It's 103. That's the proof.
And when I first tried it, when you gave it to me a while back, I didn't really like it. And then it kind of grows on you. It's just so different.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we did this one. I can't remember. I think you had tasted a bunch of other stuff that day too, right?
I
Probably.
think so. Yeah, probably. No, I think you actually sent that one home with me.
Oh,
The same
did I?
photo, Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say because I tasted this one the lineup another day, and it dominates.
It does.
It definitely dominates.
That could have been why I didn't like it at first because we were hanging out at my house, my buddy, and I'm like, let's try this new one. And we had already drank other stuff, so it's probably like so different from what we were drinking. That's probably why we put off at first. But
Yeah. It definitely it's like I'm here.
yeah, it's good.
I'm loud. I'm clear.
yeah, I'm ready to
I'm
go.
like here. I am.
But it's I think it's one
I am
that's,
myself. Love me
Yeah,
and
it's
accept
a
me. That's
unique one.
what this one says
It
to
really
me.
is.
it's a
This
unique
one is
one. Like, hey, let's
this
drink.
one
let's
is a
drink
pride
this.
parade.
Oh yeah,
Which I support.
That's it. Let's drink this tonight. Let's not drink this and this and come back to this one and go something else. Like you kind of have to stay with that one because, like you said, it dominates.
Yeah. You know, I had it in a cocktail too at Valley Hotel in Homewood.
Okay.
If you guys haven't been there, it's so beautiful. We did a Whiskey Women of Alabama event last month, and we did Starlight, and we tasted the ladies on it. There's a pretty massive group of Whiskey Women of Alabama, and they meet once a month on Whiskey Women Wednesday, usually at different places around town. And so we showed these off, and they had we worked with Valley Hotel to have like a feature cocktail menu, and they had this one in a cocktail that had apple cider and like a sliced apple garnish and some spices or something. I can't
Oh, that
remember
was
what else.
really
It was
good.
perfect. Like the flavors of this went like perfectly
that-
with that. It wasn't too heavy either.
It's like a comfort drink.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's just
But it was like the way they did it that I would like to make that recipe at home actually. But the flavors, like it was light, and not as heavy or rich as like
Yeah, not
just that
super
hot
sweet
apple
or anything.
cider
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, and it was really well done. But the flavors worked perfectly together.
You need to tell Nikki about the Bourbon Women group. She need to get you in the door.
I think she would be all in. I mean, she's got to where that's almost her drink of choice now.
Well, yeah. So they're on Facebook.
Which I love to see women drinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to any ladies out there, if you want to get together with other whiskey drinking ladies, or if you're just kind of dabbing your toes in it, this is a great group. They super sweet ladies. You know, you don't have to be some whiskey expert to go hang out and drink some whiskey. You know, you develop your palate for it just like anything else. I always joke the first time I had a beer. Y'all remember the first time you had a beer?
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, right? I was like, what in the hell is wrong with people?
Why do
Why do
people
they
like this?
drink this? Eventually, it
developing your
kind of
palate.
grew on me. I'm still not a big beer person,
I'm
but
the same way. Matt's trying to get me like more and more beer, but
yeah.
slowly, some of them are growing on me. But I still can't like Chucky's drinking a Coors Light. Like that's not me.
Oh, Chucky,
It's got to be some kind of weird flavor for me.
we gotta teach
I'm
Chucky some
Chucky,
things.
And I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho.
Chilling over there.
Yeah, I trust him even less because he's drinking a Coors Light. I just gotta say, I don't know if I want anything to do with that.
That is true. That's a little more scarier than just Chucky over there.
That's true. Scarier so smells Matt's can.
But yeah, that Whiskey Women of Alabama group, you can find it on Facebook. Just look that up, Whiskey Women of Alabama, and they post events in there. They post informative articles and
Cool.
get-togethers and stuff. There's also an Alabama Bourbon Club. There's a bunch of bourbon clubs, of course, in Alabama. The Alabama Bourbon Club is a pretty big one that meets in Birmingham at Collins Bar on the third
Okay.
Thursday of every month. And so, but I gotta say, the Whiskey Women, we're a lot more fun.
I'll bet. Not all that
The
snobby
ladies,
people.
go to Alabama Bourbon Club too, but it is more men, of course. But Whiskey Women is it's just women. If you identify as a woman, you're welcome. But we ain't letting no men in.
I was going to say
we need some time to ourselves.
We could come do a podcast, but we can't go. We'll get we'll get Nikki to go for us. That's his wife. We'll get our wives to go. We'll teach them about bourbon.
We'll have to do some meetups.
Yeah.
Between the Whiskey Women and the Alabama Bourbon Club or something. I think they've done something like that before. I think it'd be fun to do a bourbon trivia or something. You know,
men
see
versus
who
the women.
knows more.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That would be cool.
I like it. They got the what's that? The Bourbon Fest. What's it called? Coming in January.
Bourbon Ham.
Bourbon Ham. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be there. Boozy Spirits.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll be there. I'll be at the MadVines table.
Okay, awesome.
We'll have all of our whiskeys.
Cool.
So that'll be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I mean, that looks like an amazing event.
Oh, you've never been?
I've never been.
I didn't even
Okay.
I never even heard of it before.
Yeah. They've. I
think
can't
it's
remember.
8th year, I think.
Is
7th,
it 8th
8th?
year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it always benefits MS.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a couple times, but
I'm surprised I've never heard of it. And
the tickets sell out really quick.
I've
too,
talked to a
from
lot of
what I
people that
understand.
are in the bourbon community, friends of mine, they hadn't heard of it. They all think I'm stupid. I'm like, no, it's a big event.
I think you're stupid.
We're just like, oh, that's some little podunk event. I'm like, no, it's a big thing.
Yeah, no, it is.
Then I start showing it to them. They're like, holy shit, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is this?
They're gonna guess they need to probably rent a bigger and bigger venue
That's what they
each
keep
year.
saying. I think they have 385 this year.
Yeah.
Different bourbons.
Yeah.
Need a designated driver, Matt.
Yeah, we do.
Well, the key to that is you got to taste and spit. I know nobody wants to spit, but that's
Yeah,
the
we can't.
only way to walk out of some big
Yeah, yeah.
tasting
Yeah.
experience without being stupid drunk, falling on the ground. Like, it's just not possible. You
Yeah.
could take one sip of what'd you
Yeah.
say, 385?
85, yeah, you'd be gone.
You can't. It's not possible. So if you want to actually enjoy yourself, taste and spit, and then go back to a table
ones you
and
like?
get your favorite, get a pour and sip on it. I learned that early on.
then get trashed. On what you like. Or get a
Yeah.
designated driver. Like
Well,
us.
definitely always have a designated driver. Well, are you ready for the next one?
For sure. This one still smells amazing. So what's the next one we got?
So this is rye whiskey. So this is double oaked, of course. So it's been in a second barrel. And if I remember correctly, they put this in a second, another new char barrel for an additional 3 to 8 months. And this is aged a minimum of 4 years, and it is 106 proof. And I'm a big rye fan myself. I just love, I didn't start there, of course. I started on something light and easy, like Maker's Mark is where, word of advice, too. If you're trying to get into whiskey, don't start with rye. Don't start with a big cask strength bourbon. Don't start with Wild Turkey 101. Start with, like, Maker's Mark. If you want to start with Irish whiskey, a lot of people start with Jameson. And, once you're sipping on that after a while and you're like, well, I kind of want something with more flavor, then you step it up. I remember one time I used to manage Linnell's Beverage Boutique in Birmingham. I was with her since she pretty much opened until I started with MadVines in July. And we very big on education, on knowing all of our products and being able to explain them to people and have someone come in and say, oh, I really like Old Forester, but I want to try something new. What might I like? And so we were trained to be able to give them some pointers instead of just be like, bourbon's over there.
Yeah.
So one day a man came in he's probably in his 40s or something, and he was with his friend who'd been drinking whiskey a long time, and he said, yeah, I recently decided to get into whiskey. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, you hadn't really drank much? He's like, no, I never really drank it. And I said, well, what'd you start with? And he said, well, I was with my friend, and he's been a big whiskey drinker, and he said he loves Whistle Pig. And so he said, so I picked up a bottle of Whistle Pig. And so this is Whistle Pig is rye whiskey, a big, bold, very flavorful, fantastic whiskey. Dave Pickerel actually got that going. But it's wonderful. But if you're starting with whiskey, it's not where you start. And I was like, and I said, well, what'd you think of it? He said, well, I didn't like it. I said, well, I bet you didn't. I said, man, that was like, you don't know how to swim, and you just
Dove in.
jumped off the peer into the deep end. I was like, let's like bring you over here to the like
Little by little.
weeded whiskeys, like or like Maker's Mark, and but there's many others too. I was like, that's a good place to start. So I got him back on track.
That's awesome.
Hopefully, I saved his love
Saved
for
him.
whiskey. It's like if you start with the wrong one and you don't know.
you
Put
hate
that
it.
back on the shelf and come back in
Yeah.
a year or two, and you're good.
Yeah, like if you have no idea and you're just
that's
like, well, I guess I hate whiskey.
Yeah.
God dang.
That's the same like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, the Mexican restaurant, they hate tequila. 'Cause
Yeah.
They had a bad experience. I had Montezuma or something growing up, and it's horrible. Tequila's fucking gross. I was like, there's
They
so
blacked
many,
out and wrecked their car.
Yeah. Like, there's so many really good tequilas. Like, you had the bottom of the bottom shelf that was like $3 a bottle. Like,
Also, even if you have something incredible, if you get completely trashed on it,
yeah, same. Yeah.
I feel like there's something
bad
that happens
experience.
with. I mean, it is, but I can't explain it. I don't know the term. I don't know the medical way of explaining what
Yeah, yeah.
happens. But you know, like your body, it's like
Just hates it.
programmed to like, oh, stay away.
I think a lot of people had that with cheap beer, cheap tequila. They're like, I'm never drinking that again.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, it's made differently too. There's like when you're distilling, there's something. It's called the have you guys heard about like the heads, the heart, and the
Yeah, yeah.
tails? So like the cheaper stuff has more of like the head and the tails than the heart. And I don't know too many fine details about
Yeah.
distilling because that's a whole world of chemistry
it
that
is.
I didn't do too well in school. I'm not gonna lie. But so I will add this. So Starlight uses the sweet mash process with their whiskey production. That's all they do. And so you guys have probably heard like the sour mash. The sour mash process is pretty much the standard in the world of making whiskey. And all that's referring to is when they're fermenting, they take some of the solids from the previous ferment, the previous batch of the fermenting grains, and they take some of that the solids of that yeast mix and put it into the new one, and so it kind of helps contain like this consistency. The sweet mash is using fresh yeast.
Okay,
That's
cool.
To my understanding from what I've read and researched about this. Because sometimes you will hear, like, when I've talked to distillers, sometimes they'll go too deep into it. And
Yeah.
then, I'm like, what are they talking about?
Can we drink?
I mean,
You want to look at them and just say,
I'm
hey.
interested, but, like, they'll start talking about phytochemicals
Yeah, go
and
way
like,
off on
go
a tangent.
really deep
Yeah.
into, especially the ones with the chemistry degrees. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
like,
You just got to nod your head. That's like when me and Matt talked to Ryan Phillips. He just starts talking. We're like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. No idea.
And distillers get immune. Like, they don't even smell the bourbon smell that we do when we walk in a distillery.
Yeah.
And they're, I mean, it's like they're used to it. you know,
uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
I like this one a lot, too. It's really good.
it
Isn't
is
it?
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and this is we're not to the other one yet. Next, we have a rye finished in PX Pedro Ximenez sherry barrels. So,
I like that
so
one.
this one is Old Rickhouse Huber's double oaked rye whiskey.
That's 2 thumbs up for me.
Definitely,
That's my
for
favorite
sure.
so far.
It's good.
Yeah.
I was saying, talking about when you were talking about people with bad experiences, cool. Like at the restaurant, letting them try tequila. They're like, man, this is awesome. This is really good. And then I'll get a text the next day. What was that bottle? Like they're going to look for it in the
Yeah.
ABC store.
Nice.
That's always cool. Like, I hate tequila. Try this. Okay, well, where can I buy that?
Well, that's
always
what we
cool.
want to hear as a sales rep for a
Yeah,
distributor.
for sure.
That's exactly what we want. Okay, so the next one we have here is actually a MadVines pick. They picked this one before I started, so I can't say that I was a part of this pick. So I'm a little jealous. I'm going to make it to Starlight one of these days.
Sounds like a cool place.
Yeah, it's on my list to do in spring. That'll be a perfect time to go, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With their fruit, yeah, that'll work out nicely. So this is a 104.8 proof, aged 4 years. So MadVines picked this barrel, and it's finished in the Pedro Ximenez sherry barrels for 3 to 8 months. Yeah, let's taste.
It's very dark in color.
Yeah.
I'll pour
Got
you
a great
guys
color.
this one.
I like that Starlight's doing different things, not just the. There's
Yeah.
so many different bourbons and whiskeys, tequilas, everything. They're all just, a lot of them are just the same. I like that they're changing stuff up and
I do too.
trying to get different flavors, but they're not gimmicky flavors.
Yeah.
No, they're like
Legit.
you can, yeah. with as much complexity as you get from this, like their work really shows to me.
Oh,
It really shines
it's not
through.
like a gimmick. Like we just squirted some flavor in there and here you go.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell.
Well, bourbon is regulation. You can't add that. Like American rye too. Like it's part of the regulations.
Yeah,
you can't add sugar. You can't add flavors. Got to be aged in the new char barrel, like I said. So, but now if you slap just whiskey on something, then
whatever you
you
want.
can. And then there's some like loopholes, and I've seen that'll say like bourbon something whiskey, that like they're like using some loophole to where they're adding a little bit of something else to it, and still involving bourbon in the name somehow. But also, you know what? I don't think people should. With that being said, I don't think people should just get stuck on. It's got to say bourbon.
Yeah.
Like, and I say that in a way that. Yes, pay attention to what you're getting so you know you're getting something quality and it's not just got a bunch of fake flavors and sugar and whatnot in it. But at the same time, there's some incredible whiskeys out there that don't meet the regulations of bourbon. So, but it's made in just phenomenal with the phenomenal distillation techniques, and it doesn't have anything added. And because there's like proofing regulations, there's got to be at least 51% corn, of course, for bourbon, at least 51% rye. So there are things that fall outside of the regulations that make it so they can't say bourbon, they can't say like an American rye whiskey, but they're just phenomenal. Charbet Distillery, which is another one of the brands that we distribute in Alabama, they're out in Ukiah, California. They're one of those, and they do some just phenomenal things.
Never heard of
So
them. What was that?
Charbet,
Okay.
Charbet Distillery. So they do some things that will blow your mind. We always call the distiller Marco. He's the mad scientist, the genius, mad scientist. So yeah, like I feel like a lot of bourbon lovers will really get stuck on like it's gotta say bourbon.
Yeah.
Like I only drink bourbon.
Snobs.
It's really kind of ridiculous. Is that you?
No, it's him.
Is it him?
Oh,
No, I'm
yes.
not. I'm a snob where like I don't like the bottom shelf stuff like Matt does.
Yeah.
That's where
I'll
he gives me
bring
a
my
hard time.
good stuff up here.
Well,
which
but
I
you
think
know-
it's good stuff, and he's like, really? I'm like,
But you can't.
but I love it.
But there's a lot of bottom shelf stuff that's fantastic.
Some of them.
Like,
We're talking $80, $90 bottles.
You said 30 last week.
I do got some $30 bottles.
Well, let me tell y'all.
I got some $19.99
I'm
bottles.
gonna blow your mind with one of my favorites, one of my cheap go-tos
What's
that
that?
I think is phenomenal. And in blind tastings, it blows people's minds all the time because they'll rate it higher than like more expensive bottles next to it. Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
I've heard that. I hadn't tried it, but I've heard.
Yep. So they just fantastic.
Yeah.
Bottled and bond has to be aged at least 4 years. I'll tell people what bottled and bond means just for sake of describing what explaining that. So bottled and bond was a regulation that was passed back in 1897 when folks didn't know what was happening with their whiskey. There was no way to distinguish between stuff that was good and didn't have tobacco spit in it and caramel and fake whatever.
And the
to
distillers
try to psych
wanted
you
that.
out.
They actually asked for that.
They did. Yeah, there was no way. They were like, look, man, we got good stuff, but there's
Other people.
other people doing it and there's no way to distinguish. And so that was actually the first like consumer protection regulation passed. And it was about whiskey. Which is
Gotta love
kind of
it.
not surprising, right? Like, I guess it's not surprising. So, yeah, that was put in place, and it said it had to be 100 proof, had to be aged at least 4 years, had to be in a government bonded warehouse. Let's see, what else? I'm missing some things. Couldn't add anything to it. Stop putting your tobacco spit in it.
Yeah.
And
We call them the regulators. Is that what it was?
what do you mean?
Rectifiers.
Yeah. So yeah, you still have. It has to be the production of one distillation season, one
That's it,
distillery,
that's it,
all that. So, and you've still got releases, bottled and bond releases today. Tons of brands do,
Yeah,
big
pretty
brands
much
for
every
sure.
brand, yeah.
And it means less in today because things are more regulated for sure. But at the same time, when you see a bottled and bond bottle, you immediately know that was one distillery that made that. It's not sourced from different places and blended. You immediately know it's aged at least 4 years.
Yeah.
it kind of just it sets this standard that you always know.
You know, it's a quality usually.
Yeah, and you don't have to go digging for facts. It's, you know, so. But Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, yeah.
Put that on. Try it out.
So,
have you been to the Evan Williams Experience in Louisville?
Downtown. Not the experience.
It's very cool. It's like I call it like a Disney version of it because it's right on the main strip downtown, up from the Louisville Slugger. And it's real. Like you go into this room, it looks like you're in a swamp, and they have like a video playing. It looks like they run you through the whole. Like, history of it. Then you go in the next room, it's all computerized, like mashing happening. So it's like a Disney ride almost.
Wait, maybe I did go to that, actually.
It's really cool.
I think I did. I thought you were talking about something entirely different. I thought you were about to tell me some massive festival. Well, of course they do festivals in Louisville, but I thought you were about to tell me some.
So it's right there in the middle of downtown. That's what they call it. Because it's not really a distillery. They don't make nothing there.
Yeah.
It's just like the little experience, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and I've been to Old Forester. There cool. too. I haven't done all the distillery tours, but I've done some, and then I've done some rum agricole in Clement and Rum Jam and Martinique. Cool. And talking about distillery smelling good, I gotta say imagine. The rum distilleries they smell better than the bourbon ones. I mean, I like the smell of a bourbon distillery, but the rum one.
I've never been to a rum distillery.
It smelled sexy.
I've been to a coffee farm.
Did.
Yeah. Coffee farm is pretty sexy smelling.
Oh, I bet.
It's unique.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't done that. Yeah. Martinique was fun. If you do want to go on an island experience and go to some distilleries while you're there, Barbados, Martinique, definitely some fun places to go. Cool. Went to Foursquare in Barbados before.
Awesome. That's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
I'll bring you some of that one, Matt.
Foursquare is really one of the rums for a bourbon lover because it don't play.
I can't remember what finish the one I have, but they call it like the Papia rums. I can't remember which one it was.
One of the Foursquare ones?
It was one of the Foursquare. It's like a hard to come by one that I found online.
Huh. I don't know. All of them are hard to come by pretty much in Alabama.
Of course.
But I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
I'll send you a picture when I get home of it. I can't remember what it was, but they said it was like the Papia rum.
Okay.
It's like super allocated, hard to find the bottle.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. He Richard Sill, the Foursquare distiller, always kind of joked about him being the pappy of the rum world. So that of course that makes sense.
Good stuff.
So, well, I don't know if I actually tasted this one yet.
That one's good as well. Definitely a unique flavor.
Yeah.
Do you guys generally like any sherry flavored whiskeys?
Not
Cherry,
really.
not flavored but finished.
There's one, I'm trying to think of the name of it that I like, but I'm not a big wine guy, so
yeah.
I definitely like the other three better than this one, but this one's still it's still not thumbs down yet. It's still good stuff.
Good.
It's a definite thumbs up.
Yeah, it's a thumbs up. I like it.
Well, yeah, y'all better not say any of the others or I'm not coming back. I'm just playing.
No, it's still good. I'm not a huge wine drinker. I've tried tons.
But it does add to the complexity of the flavors. I mean,
it's good.
To me, it tastes really good.
I actually, talking about wine, the Reslin I ordered from you, I actually like that one. We tried it last night.
Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it.
The blue bottle. It was actually pretty good.
I don't know what. I was up really late last night, as you could tell. He emailed me 4 cases, and then
I said, send me 2 cases.
Oh, yeah.
And then I wrote her back an hour later, send me 4 cases.
I was like, I wonder if he's drank most of that bottle, and I was like, I don't care. I'm putting this order through.
Yeah. It wasn't,
You said it.
It wasn't most of that one because Giovanni took it with him, but it was other stuff. It happens.
Yeah, it was a great price point. I'm glad you grabbed it.
Yeah,
the bottle.
You're drinking wine and beer, and dude, I love it.
Look at
I
it.
love it. You're
Growing
growing
up.
up.
Last night, yes.
You're going to be an adult soon.
Last night, yes.
That's what happens. And the next thing you know, you are a wine drinker.
I don't know about that, but we'll see. That one was. I've tried so many different ones. I just can't get into them. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's okay too. There's plenty of things out there to drink.
Yeah, I like everything else. I said Matt calls me the snob, so it's not even. It's funny with tequila. It's not even because who was it? I think Hayes the other day was telling us, "Hey, what's a really good expensive tequila?" I'm like, I'll tell you some really good decent tequilas. The expensive ones, I don't really like them that much.
Yeah,
they're not as good just because they're expensive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And
price doesn't always go with quality of it.
Yeah, sure. And then it gets into a lot of the tequilas like you and I talked about before. like where they're adding a bunch of stuff to it,
Yeah,
vanilla and
yeah.
sugar and flavors, and like, okay, if that's what you want, but that's not really tequila. That's
Yeah.
like flavored
Yeah.
tequila, which
completely different.
yeah, that's why that whole certified additive free movement is happening with tequila, because Americans have got to the point where they think that's what tequila
It tastes
is,
like, yeah,
and if
it's
it's not
completely
like
different.
sweet vanilla kind of stuff, they're like, oh, it's gross. This is terrible
Yeah.
tequila. So
And I know the Mexican government, they're actually against that. I was reading something this morning about it.
really?
Yeah, they don't want it to be additive free, to be put on there, because they're like, no, like that's not where our money is. Our money's over here. All these people adding stuff to it.
oh yeah, that
is
makes
unique.
sense. Dang, I see.
Which is kind of unique.
I mean, unfortunately, sugar sells.
It's true.
Sweet sells, vanilla sells. So if the demand is there,
Yeah,
they're gonna pursue. Oh
it's
yeah,
interesting. And now that I'm thinking about it, I need to look and see. I got a 24 Days of Christmas tequila sample from a buddy of mine online,
yeah.
and it's 20. Well, let's see, it's 25 different tequilas, like little 2-ounce samples, and I've never had any of these 25. He sent me a giant list, and I marked out what I've tasted before. I need to send you the list and see if any of those y'all
That's
carry.
cool. Yeah.
So like, it's just number 3. Drink it, try it. Then he has like a little flip book like this, and like you flip the 3, he tells you what it is.
That's neat. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like, so it's 25 blind tastings basically.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That does sound
25 tequilas we'll probably never have in Alabama.
Have you found any you liked yet?
All of them.
Really?
cool. And so, wait, what day are you on of it?
I guess what's today?
22.
I was gonna say, are you on the day?
Yeah, I'm on day 5. I hadn't tried 6 yet. I'll try that later today.
I gave my kids a little
Tequila?
advent calendar, tequila calendar. Oh, by the way, my daughter Rosie, she said, I told her I was coming back to do another podcast today.
Yeah.
I'd shown her part of the Wonderbird gin one, and she said, well, she's 10. She said, will you just randomly mention me? Like
There you go,
just randomly mention me. Or she said, hey, you should tell them about that time I was asking you questions about like old presidents, and you were like, I don't know, Rosie, I can't remember, but I can tell you about whiskey and wine.
There you go. There you go, Rosie.
That's a good life lesson right there.
She said they'll think it's funny.
It was funny. Now you can tell her she's been on the
I'll tell her
podcast.
how to. I'll find a way to work her in. Yep, that child's an old soul.
That is awesome.
42 minutes in, we'll make a note so you can show her what we talked about you.
So what's the average price or the retail price on
Yeah.
something
So let's see. I should have recalled. So this one is actually. Let me pull out my little iPad.
There you
There you go.
Well, let's set it out of the
Well,
way.
Oh, you're fine.
we can wait.
Okay.
throw
Let
it
me
up.
take my headset off then and grab it.
Yeah, get it. We'll try the blackberry one. We'll pour all us some blackberry.
Here, I'll grab that if you want to pour.
I've actually tried this one before. It's really good.
Smells good.
They're all really good.
You want a strong pour? Or
No, weak pour. We still got to make it through tonight.
We do have a long day ahead.
We got to go be an adult for a couple hours, and then we got to drive to Birmingham, and then we got a party to go to,
What does being an adult mean? What does that mean to you?
pick up kids,
Okay.
get McDonald's for the kids' dinner.
Do you actually work?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I did the earlier today. Did. People keep texting me from work in the middle of a podcast. Oh, yeah. That one's good.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I got to do the adulting too. Definitely. I like how you were like, pick up the kids. It means feed them McDonald's. Like,
Since we're, like, because me and my wife and Matt and his wife, we're all going to Birmingham tonight, so there's no being an adult at home.
Yeah.
We're like, get them some McDonald's.
I
here.
mean, I'm
Y'all
not
eat-
judging you.
Y'all eat this tonight. We're going.
yeah, no, look, when I like always say, like, back when I used to parent my hypothetical children, like before I had children, and I
Yeah.
was just hypothetical parent about what I was going to do when
No
I had
iPads,
kids.
no phone,
it
no
was
junk
so
food, and you're
easy,
like,
man.
fuck it.
I was on fire. Like, they only ate healthy, organic, local foods. They just played with wooden blocks. That's all they
that
played
you
with.
cooked at home, I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
were the
people,
best.
I have kids, no iPads, no phones. I'm like, okay.
I did only gentle parenting. Like, they were the
good luck.
best children. And then I had children.
And then you're like, fuck it.
And then
Whatever.
and my son when COVID hit, he's 7 now. So let's see, he was 4, and then Well, he hadn't turned 4 yet. He was 3. And the tragedy for him was when the local McDonald's closed.
That's huge.
He's still obsessed with McDonald's.
He was probably over there.
We
with us and,
actively are always like,
he said, "Let's go to McDonald's. It's closed."
no, he literally started crying.
Are you serious?
He was like, we were living in Norwood, over near the Old Caraway Hospital in Birmingham, and the local McDonald's right there on the corner closed for whatever reason, because, I don't know, they were really busy. I imagine it was something to do with the building, because they tore it down not too much longer later.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we drove past it that day and he saw it had closed, he was like, McDonald's closed. And I was like, oh God, have definitely fed him too much McDonald's. Crap.
Ripped his heart out.
We all do the best we can, you know.
McDonald's pretty good. Not gonna lie. What you think? I like this one a lot.
So this is sweet. This is, and I'll point out that, like, this isn't necessarily something I like to drink on its own. To me, this is a mixer.
Yep.
And it is great in a cocktail. It's already got the sweet factor, so if you're making a cocktail with it, you can skip the simple syrup or you can cut down on it.
Yeah.
It goes great. Valley Hotel did something with like a ginger beer, I think it was, and that worked nicely.
I could see that, yeah. That'd be a good mix.
But there are legit flavored whiskeys and there are crap flavored whiskeys. They're using real blackberry, their own fresh blackberry. They're using sugar. They're using minimal sugar. And one of the ways you can tell is the proof of, like, this is 84 proof. So most flavored whiskeys at that point they fall into the liqueur category.
Yeah.
Like, they're just sweet, and the proof will be like 50, maybe 60, maybe even only 40.
Yeah.
But the fact that this is still up there, it's like whiskey is still their focus. So blackberry
really
whiskey. So what's in ABC right now is the blackberry, which the ABC price is $38, and then the signature first bourbon we tried there, Carl T. Huber's signature Indiana Straight Bourbon Whiskey, that is $55 in ABC.
Okay.
Of course, if you find these in package stores, they're always going to be more, because that is the price that they are paying. Bars and restaurants and package stores are paying from when they buy from ABC. If they buy a case, they get a 14% case discount, but that's really annihilated by taxes. So I always
tell
like
people,
to point that
"Hey,
out.
You think you can get me something from ABC cheaper?" I'm like, "No, I pay the same price you pay."
Yeah.
I just don't pay tax because we added on to the
There's
customer,
so many people who just don't know
they always
how
think
it
I get
works
like these incredible deals.
in
I was
Alabama.
like, it's the same price.
Yeah.
It just blows them away. They're like, "Really? You don't get a discount?" I'm
Yeah,
like,
especially people traveling through
Yeah.
the state, but even people who've lived here their whole lives,
Yeah.
they don't. I didn't know until I got into this business, like, that. Holy crap! You're
Yeah.
paying what for it? Like,
It is crazy you pay the same price as
Anybody,
average Joe that goes in there.
This one's really
Yeah.
If you just buy one or two or what.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
yeah. So these, if ABC had them, it would run 110.
good. Okay, yeah.
So you can imagine what that means for an individual package store,
Yeah.
what they have to charge to
of
make
course.
anything off of it. So
The blackberry is really good. I wish it was like 130 proof. It'd be amazing.
I would like to see a really high proof.
it
on
would
that.
actually. It would
Yeah.
be interesting.
I'm in the high proof drinker, so I love the flavor of it. It doesn't taste like it's 84. I mean, it tastes good, but
Doesn't.
if it was like a cask strength blackberry,
Yeah, that would be
if Starlight's
interesting.
listening, which I'll tag them in all this, they need to make that would be phenomenal.
Well, we
Yeah,
should
it would be good.
have to mix this if we had a really high. No, I mean, these are. I'm at the point where I'm like, none of these are high.
I'm the same way.
Like,
It's weak.
I mean, they're not weak, but let's see. So what? 106 proof is the highest we have, and I'm like, that's not high.
Isn't that sad when we say that 106 is?
So that's why one reason he calls me a snob, because I'm like 130 range. That's why I drink.
But you've showed me some that
They don't taste
Tastes
like
like
130.
a 80
No,
or 90.
yeah,
I mean,
they
it's-
don't.
That's what's scary.
They're not all made equally for sure. Like, you can taste them, and the same as in the other way around. Like, you can taste a lower proof whiskey,
Yeah.
and sometimes
Yes.
you're like, God, this tastes way hotter,
Oh,
way
yeah.
higher.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm gonna go buy me a bottle of this one. I like it a lot.
yeah.
Like you were saying, mixing it and stuff. I'll just like it straight.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with that either, and it is good. A lot of people who are getting into whiskey and like sweet, like this is a way to
It's
start.
a dessert bourbon, which I've never, but it is.
Hit me a splash of that Old Forester on top of this one.
Right here?
No, I'm sorry, Old Soul.
Right here?
No, you know the one I like. Play with me. I just want to see what it tastes
Such a
like.
snob.
Oh, yeah, y'all had Case out here, huh?
Oh yeah, I love Case. He's a good dude.
Saul, yeah, he's a good dude. Yeah.
He was another just random person that showed up and like, hey, try this stuff.
It's about gone.
It's still something.
Well, that's
there.
how I got a hold of you.
it's gone.
Yeah, that's
Through
right.
him.
That's what's cool. I'm gonna do an experiment, add a little high proof to it.
Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of, let's see, I'm going to put a little bit of this Old Rick House in mine.
Oh yeah.
Does that help?
Oh yeah, that's money right there.
So your mixed drink is flavored bourbon with bourbon.
That's my mixed drink. And what's your favorite mixed drink? Strong bourbon with a stronger bourbon?
Well, if you look at it this way, you could add some bitters to it.
That would be
Good.
good.
And it would basically be an old fashioned because you've
Yeah,
got the,
they got
the,
the sweet.
simple
Yep.
from the blackberry,
That's a
and
good
then
point.
you've got the whiskey,
would be-
and all you need is bitters, and technically it's
You got a
an
blackberry
old
old fashioned.
Now I'm definitely going to get a bottle.
Ooh, this tastes really good with it. Yeah, needs a little ice, but that tastes good.
That is good.
Yeah.
Funny story. This weekend we went to the SEC championship game. Me and two buddies and took the kids. So we stopped at some liquor store in Douglasville, and we got a Jack Daniel's rye barrel proof, which is in I was saying the States. In Alabama, it's allocated. Mm-hmm. They had it on the shelf for $64. When I bought it at the distillery, I paid $75. I'm like, this is cheaper than the freaking distillery.
Wow,
That's one of my favorite ones. It came in 139 proof.
I think I've had that one. It's pretty
really good.
phenomenal.
So it
Like
came
I'm
in at
not a
139.
fan of like regular Jack, but
Yeah.
like
Single barrel Jack, the barrel proof,
yeah.
and the barrel proof rye. That's probably my daily drinkers.
well, even the recent bottled and bond line that they came out with. Have y'all had those?
Yeah, we got some over there. It's not.
Yeah, it's
pretty
good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, I'm
it's-
glad they came out with that.
So we
line.
snuck some in some water bottles. We were going into the fanfare event.
What?
Yeah. So we're like, the big signs, no alcohol, can't bring nothing in. So my buddy Backwoods, he's from Mississippi. He's like, let me show you how to do it. That's his nickname. He squeezes all the air out of it, sticks it in the back of his pants. He's like, you just walk in. That's how we do it in Starkville. He's like, usually I have a cowbell next to my moonshine. So
Well,
he's like,
I mean,
we just walk into the game.
I was gonna say, flask do exist.
But we didn't plan ahead.
You
though.
weren't prepared. Okay. I was like, you guys didn't have to do that. That really is backwoods.
It is Backwoods. It worked though. We got it in there.
Hey
got it
man,
in.
I can't judge. I still sneak popcorn and candy into the movie theater.
It's
I'm
$1
not
million.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
I snuck in Chinese food one day. I swear to God. I had a whole
How'd you sneak that
in a
in?
Ziploc bag in my cargo shorts. It was a while back. I was watching a movie eating Mugu Gai Pan. I swear I did.
I learn something new every day.
That's funny.
That stuff's really good.
That is good.
We'll go get us a couple bottles.
Yeah.
And then I actually mixed. There's it's a Delta 8 seltzer called High 8. I mixed some of the Jack Daniels with that before we went in.
Okay. The high 8.
I think it's called High 8.
It's not a local one, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
They
Is
sell,
it?
they sell it in
Is it
Alabama.
high or is it high?
I don't know,
High?
one of those. I think
There's
it's High
one.
8.
There's a brand based out of Birmingham that's Blackwater, Blackwater or Whitewater.
There's one that just opened in Birmingham, called Hempco, a brand.
Oh, I don't know.
They just had
That
a release. They just had a release party last night.
Oh, huh. That's a new one to
They
me.
have like lime flavor, grapefruit.
That's
Yeah.
like THC and all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it has less than 0.3%.
Yeah, 0.03 or something
Yeah,
like that. Like,
THC. Yeah, it's
More
all
the
it legally
CBD.
can have. That's how it exists
I don't
legally.
know. I mixed that with the rye, and I was in fan zone rolling. They had the Pep Rally Alabama band out there, and I was trying to get them to play Free Bird, but they wouldn't.
Really?
They had a good time. I think it's called High 8 Seltzer. That's what it is.
Yeah, I have to look that one up.
It's good stuff, isn't it?
I like the concept of the Delta 8 seltzers. Like they're doing, and I know the Weatherford in Birmingham, their Blackwater seltzers. I think they're doing 3 milligrams. They're doing them like really, really low with like the idea that
Yeah.
you could drink a couple kind of like while you're hanging out with your buddies
Yeah,
and
just get you a little
not
buzz.
get stoned out of your mind,
Yeah.
but like just a little bit of like relaxation. My body does not tolerate any of it well. Like, I don't think my ancestors ever messed with it. They just drank. My ancestors just drank a lot, apparently, because I
If
can't.
you mix it with 139 proof Jack Daniels, you will see stuff.
Works well.
You will have a good time.
Look, I had one of those Blackwater 3 milligram seltzers, Delta 8 ones. No, maybe it was Delta 9. And either way, one of those. And I just drank this one little seltzer, and my boyfriend and I were going to the store or something, and he drove, and I kept going. I felt like we were going really fast. We were going 25 miles an hour down a neighborhood street.
That's awesome. That was a good one then.
I don't know.
Which one was that? Let me make a note.
I don't think normal people get that experience, though. Like, I think most people aren't affected heavily. Like I said, I don't know. I don't think my ancestors partook
Start seeing
in
aliens.
any of that.
That's what
It
I-
is strange because people that don't drink beer, like
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah, like
drink
we're
one
talking
beer
about-
and you.
Yeah, like I'm not a big beer drinker. I'll drink one beer and have like a super big buzz. I'm like, this is weird.
That is weird.
6% alcohol. I just chugged Jack Daniels last night and I was chilling. I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know. Some chemist could probably tell
Yeah,
us
there's
why.
something-
Yeah, there's something
Yeah.
to it.
I know there's something too that I made a peppermint infused tequila in a Blanco. And then I did a
I
peppermint.
saw that in your social media.
Then
That
I,
looked good.
I did a rum version too, just playing with the peppermint. It will like go down in the tequila. You have to shake it. Mm-hmm. And so it's like a light red color. You shake it, it turns pink.
Yeah.
The rum stays pink. So there's some kind of chemistry with the rum that keeps the particles hanging out.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what goes on there. I need to find somebody smarter than us to ask about that.
Well, if the rum is sweetened,
I was
So-
just regular white rum, but I'm sure it has.
well, a lot of
more-
rum has sugar,
more
does
sugar.
have sugar
Yeah, so it
added,
kinda-
more so in the rum world than in the tequila world. So maybe
Yeah, yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
See, I found somebody
That's my
smarter
guess.
than
That's
us.
my guess, but I could be entirely wrong.
I don't know. I like it. I'll go with that. Because it's just sitting on my bar, and like the tequila is like see through, and the rum's opaque. You can't see nothing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Some science there.
Yeah. We need a chemist. We need to get a chemist.
What do we do? I know a chemist. I don't know if I want our own here, but no one.
Well, I know, like, I can. Actually, I was thinking, if I would have planned ahead enough of trying to get one of the Huber family, like,
Yeah.
phoning in
Yeah, for sure.
an interview.
Yeah.
Which we could always do it again in the
Oh
future.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But there's definitely plenty of, like, importers, distillers,
yeah.
Blenders.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ebony-
that family still
yeah.
runs? It's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
family
no,
run?
it's still family owned. Yeah,
Yeah.
The
I know-
7th generation is distilling now.
It's
yeah.
it's really good stuff.
Yeah.
That- I know we're trying to get on. Probably next year we'll get it working. Andrew from LVI Raicilla.
Yeah,
Maybe get you to come on with him too.
yeah,
I've
absolutely.
been talking to him for a while.
Yeah,
Our
he was.
schedule's been. He's a one man show, so
He's
he's
a
all over
very
the
busy
place.
man. Yeah, he is all over the place. Yeah, he
But-
still has a day job, so to speak.
Yeah.
which I think it is a day job.
But, I mean, he's done phenomenal with that brand too, though.
Yeah, he has, and it's a really fantastic.
I need to bring you
brand.
something to try. He just had mezcal for the first time last week.
Yeah. That's
Getting 'em
definitely, you
downhill.
gotta keep in mind, that category is definitely an acquired taste too. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, and there are some that are so smoky, as you've
yeah.
had more than me, so you know. And if you start there, it's like,
Yeah.
it's another one of those
That's
things
what
where people
it
are like,
is.
oh God, I hate this
That's
category.
it was actually Case's episode, wasn't it? Or no? Was it Case?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was
Brought
Case.
something,
Yeah. I brought this Monte Lobo's, just a standard mezcal, kind of entry level.
yeah.
So I didn't want to start them too high.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some really small craft brands in our portfolio. El Ogorio, Cinco Sentidos,
really good one.
really small craft, small batch, limited release. We have Nuestra Soledad. I'm probably skipping some.
Hey, you had quite a few on there.
Those are the main kind of lines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have fun stuff. I love my job.
You got all kinds of stuff, and you're extremely knowledgeable with it. I'm impressed.
You really are.
Well, thank you.
I was
there's-
impressed the first time we met that you're like, I just started doing this, and then you started talking. I'm like, she's lying to me.
Well, I mean, like I said, my experience comes from
What you
Winnell's.
said, you know, yeah, so now it makes sense that
we
you've
really
been through
went
that, yeah.
heavy into training and tasting and
Yeah.
learning cocktails, and I never worked behind a bar professionally, but I can certainly mix all the classic cocktails. I can't do it at a speedy pace of a bartender at a busy bar on a Saturday night, but
you know what you're doing, though.
I can do it, and we did that so we knew what flavors paired well together. So we could give recommendations to people, and so I learned I basically went to school for spirits and wine. There's still a lot more I have to learn about wine because my knowledge is very heavy in the spirits category, but I know a good amount of wine too. Wine is, it's a lot. It's a bigger, broader,
we'll have you on
kind of
for
more
a
never-ending
wine
category.
show one day.
Yeah, for
See if
sure.
we can get his wife, Nikki. She's a big wine nerd.
She is a big wine nerd.
We'll move Chucky and get her to come try it out.
Yeah, I love that. I sell spirits like crazy, but
But like I said, compliments to you.
My bosses are always like, "Hey," they said, this is their way of saying, "Ashley, you need to sell more wine." Was, "Well, you've been killing it with spirits. We would love to see what you can do with wine." I was like, okay, message received.
Yeah,
Not that
exactly.
I hadn't been trying, but like spirits in Alabama, what we have kind of sells themselves. Like people are already seeking what's not your standard brand on the ABC shelves. In the world of wine, there are the big dogs, United, Johnson, Grassroots. They're like the wine world is established. Everyone has their go-tos, and so when you're a small distributor of wine trying to break into that world, and wines have only been available from MadVines in Alabama for maybe right at 2 years, and so we're still getting into that realm in Alabama, and it's harder to break into. But we have some really good ones, so we'll definitely have to do
I definitely
something.
need to get you in touch with my wife because we're opening up a new restaurant,
Yeah,
music
he was
venue,
telling me about that. Yeah.
and we're gonna need all that. And she is the wine person.
She is.
Okay.
He said
Yeah.
they're going to do the cocktails, bourbon bar, wine, everything. So
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of beers on tap. Do you do any beers?
We don't.
Okay.
No, not yet. Who knows what the future holds? We are bringing in Tepache. Well, of course, not
Which
a
is
beer,
huge,
but but huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a new import from Back Bar Project, and it's a 7% ABV, 375 milliliter bottle, and it's fantastic. And we have a big old pallet of it. It's supposed to be here Friday, I think, actually.
nice.
And it's good stuff.
And everywhere else, I mean, you see it in Texas. I see it all the time.
Oh, I'm
So,
sure. Yeah.
it's huge.
I don't think there's anything. I don't know of any other like good bottled quality Tepache that like is on the level.
Yeah.
In Alabama.
I don't think so. I don't think I've ever seen it because you let me try some of it.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it in Alabama.
Yeah. So this is gonna be big. We're gonna the guys we're gonna I say the guys. It's my boss and like my and the sales manager in the company, Zach and Ben, the guys. They were going to hold off until the spring to bring it in, but I was like, no, man, like get it here right now. Because they were like, well, I don't know the flavors because it's, fermented from pineapple.
Yep.
For anybody who's wondering. I mean, I love that for like soothing your stomach. Feels so good on your stomach. Like maybe that's more info than people really care to know right now. But if you don't tolerate beer well,
Yeah,
like
it's like a mix.
Beer always kind of makes me kind of like feel bloated and like, whoa, like I can only drink so much. But like this doesn't do it to me. Like ciders don't either. But it's very like soothing for your gut. It's supposed to have a lot more probiotics.
Yeah, it's kind of like a kombucha almost kind of thing.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, we'll have that here. So, but who knows? We might have some beer in the future in our portfolio. So we'll have to get together.
Always open to try stuff. Like I was telling you, compliments to you. You're very knowledgeable.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
I was impressed when we first met. And
It's fun to learn.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
now that you said talking about Linnell's, which I've never been to Linnell's before.
Yeah.
I need to go up there. And
You'll have to, yeah. Well, that's what she specializes in is the things that are hard to find in Alabama. The harder to find, the more likely it's at Linnell's. And before you rush to Linnell's for some Pappy or some Blanton's or some Weller,
Other hard to find
that
stuff.
ain't her thing. That's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about. All that's heavily controlled and heavily allocated by the state, and there's a lot that goes into who gets what, and a lot of it's like, oh, if you sell a lot of this bottom level brand.
Or
from,
if you're in
you know,
politics, or
if you buddies with
that's a whole
whoever.
nother
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. So
Don't get me on that soapbox.
Yeah, she doesn't really play that game, so that's not what you're gonna find. You're not gonna find a closet pappy at her shop, even though she, knew Julian Van Winkle when she had her first store back
sweet.
in Red
Also,
Hook.
that's a grandson, right? Or great grandson or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's just the son.
Just son. Okay,
I might be wrong. I can't remember.
it's one of those.
Don't put me on the spot.
Something son,
Now-
grandson, son-in-law, something.
I start to lose track sometimes with these, the family-owned distilleries.
He was the one I think
generation.
that sold the original Stitzelweller and sold it off, and then kind of went and did his own thing because there's still like a Stitzelweller juice that you can buy for certain years.
Yeah,
It's
there's
10 times more the money.
I actually have a Happy Land book
Yeah,
that I need
I've read
to
that book. It's
finish
pretty
reading.
cool. And that's what we did. I was talking about blind tasting.
Yeah.
Every Friday, me and a buddy of mine, I call him my head taste tester. We always get together and hang out. So I was like, let's start doing blind stuff. I got so much different stuff at the house. Let's do some blind tasting.
Absolutely.
I was like, instead of saying, hey, this is a Starlight, just go, I'll go in the other room. You go in I call it my drinking room. It's the den. No, it's the dining room. I was like, just go in there.
It's the kitchen.
Go in there and pull something. So
Yeah.
we started doing that a couple weeks ago. So last week, I have a little sample of Pappy 23, which that goes for $5,000 a bottle,
God,
I think.
I don't know.
Something stupid on the secondary. I let him try it. He's like, this tastes like shit. What is this? He's like, man, this is so heavy, like oak flavor and everything else. And I showed him. He's like, are you kidding me? We were talking like, if I would have told you what it was,
Yeah.
it's the best thing I ever had.
Yeah.
Because that placebo effect that it's
Yeah,
$5,000
it's
a
real.
bottle.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, I've had some Pappies. I can't remember which one, and they were good. But like, there's so many other things
There's
on
so
the
many,
market that
yeah.
I would rather have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like
For the money, especially.
Yeah, I mean these Starlights.
Yeah, I mean, those are, yeah.
And like I was gonna mention, like we were talking about like these unique finished ones and single barrels
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot that Starlight has. I mean, small craft is always gonna be more expensive. They don't have the dollars it takes to
Mm-hmm.
give you something cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll build to that eventually,
Yeah,
but and also the distillation craft like
everything,
that that ain't cheap to get into.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't like, so let me just open up a small shop.
Yeah.
That takes a lot of money. So these at ABC pricing would be 110 if ABC had any, which they don't have any of these. And there's a lot of reasons why that we can't control about that. But
Another episode.
yeah, I have to be careful talking about that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I get you.
Don't want to bite the
restaurant
hand
owner,
that
I get it.
feeds us.
Just in case. Somebody-
But
Gilbo
but you
listens.
guys tasted these.
They're fantastic.
They are.
I mean, if you had these at a blind tasting and you knew the price was 110, and like we said, it's going to be quite a bit more at an individual retailer who's where they'll be. They'll end up in Alabama. Most of the time that'll probably end up being like 150, 160 is what I would say. Maybe 170. That would be somewhere in that range. But these are top notch.
I think
Like
I
if
agree.
this
That's what I was fixing to say,
had like Old Forester or some big
Yeah.
name on it, and someone tried that, they would be like, "Yeah, that's worth that money."
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
But the unfortunate thing is, a lot of people don't know this brand yet, which they're learning. They're getting like Starlight is rising, and the attention they're getting.
This
and-
episode's definitely going to help. We're going to
Yeah.
pump it out there, tag Starlight.
And if you blind tasted this stuff against some of
Anything,
these
yeah.
well-known brands,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
you would probably pick this.
the Starlight.
I think so too. Well, that's why we do tastings too,
Mm-hmm.
like individual retailers. Like we're legally allowed to do tastings.
Yeah.
They're like scheduling and a certain amount you can pour and whatnot, all that. But tasting people on it. We'll be at Birmingham with them, of course. So when you can taste people on it, they're more inclined to say, okay, I'll pay that amount. I can't blame people if you don't know something, and especially right now,
And
a lot of
people are
people
so-
aren't spending as
And
many
they're
big
so
dollars
connected
on
to
the
like
big
what they
bottles.
know. I see that a lot at the restaurant. Somebody will come in like, I want to order chicken fingers. I was like, hey, try our fajita gumbo. That's what we're known for.
Yeah.
What is it? Explain it. No, I want chicken fingers. Your chicken fingers are amazing with cheese dip on them. I'm like, okay, try this fajita gumbo. Try this bistec. If you don't like
I'm
it,
gonna have to go get your.
you need to.
I'm
I was like, I
hungry.
will pay for it and buy
It
you
is
chicken
good.
fingers. Like, just try it.
And I'll pay for it and buy you.
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think that's a good way to go about business.
But trying
Justin,
to
if
get
you're doing
them
that
to
too
try
much.
something because
You
people
buy
are so
them
set.
chicken fingers and gumbo.
Because I know when they try it, they're not going to want chicken fingers.
But when people go to your restaurant, they get the same thing that they know
Always,
they
always.
love.
Yeah, I don't need a menu. I know what I
Yeah,
want.
I know
Pork
what
belly
you're saying.
taco.
That's what I'm saying. Well, ABC, come in. Hey, give me a bottle of Jack.
Yeah.
You know, try this Starlight. It's really good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
if somebody wants whatever, how do you go about? You
So
can't.
they would have. Well, no, they can. We have it in stock, but
Okay.
ABC, and I'll try to briefly talk about this because I could talk for an hour about kind of what all's involved. But ABC has had kind of been changing things over this past couple years, and this year especially with how they allow for these small craft brands to be in ABC stores. They are trying to basically move the things that don't move at the pace they want them to.
Right.
They don't want to keep stock of in their warehouses. They don't want to take up space on their shelves, so they're trying to get them out of there. And so they put a new system in place for distributors for those such brands, which is like all of our portfolio. All of our portfolio is like small craft, just not big name, fantastic stuff, but it's never gonna move at the rate that Smirnoff would or Woodford or Old Forester or whatever. Well, I mean,
But it's
one day,
changing.
Right.
Like I said,
Anyway.
people are changing.
Yeah, so ABC now requires accounts to specifically contact us and order it, and then we have to send an email to ABC. Can we deliver this case for this account? They come back and say, basically proceed, and then once they approve it, we deliver the case to the ABC wholesale warehouse of their choice. And they pick up at that point. And
lot of red tape.
a lot of red tape. And there's so much more to it than what I just said. But that in a
it's-
nutshell.
And it sucks because like I've talked to Ashley about it. Like if I tell her, hey, I want one of each of these, I got to buy a case of each.
Right.
Unless
We-
they do like mixed cases and stuff. That's what you're trying to do.
We're starting to get into that. We'll be doing more and more coated mixed cases
Yeah.
in 2024. That's
Which
a whole
helps us.
inventory
I can-
nightmare
That's 12
on our
bottles?
side,
Six.
but we're getting
Usually
there.
there.
Six or 12. Usually six in these smaller kinds. Yeah.
Six. And so right now we actually have the PX finished rye in a mixed case with the Amburana finished, so 3 and 3.
Okay.
And so you get the 14% off on that case. Now, of course, if you break a case, which ABC does not, they want us to just be doing this process for cases. But if a warehouse were to break a case and let someone buy one of something, you of course lose the discount.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. So these are available. We do have them in stock. We have a warehouse in Birmingham. And when someone contacts us and says, "Hey, I want a case of the Amburana finished and with the PX finished rye," we get their information. We go through that process, and typically 1 to 2 weeks will be within the week.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes if there's some snags and some hang-ups with coding or waiting on the state or whatever, it may be 2, but typically the same week. So. And then, we just deliver it there. So, if anybody's listening or watching and interested, they can contact me directly at Ashley at MadVines, ASHLEY, and I can make that happen, and I can tell you more, and we can discuss specifics and yada yada. So,
I'll share all your contacts, like I said, in the info. So make sure
thank you.
people get a hold of you.
yeah.
I'll get you Rashawn's number. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
he'd be a good one.
Yeah, maybe I
Bree,
can.
Bree will also be a good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely see who I can get to carry these. So the like we talked about the flagship and the blackberry are available in some ABC stores. They're no longer allowing, like we couldn't just put all these on the shelves.
Yeah.
They're not allowing that anymore. If something gets enough, there's a lot of boxes that have to be checked, but if something has got enough attention brand wise and is moving enough, I think in the surrounding states, and there's other factors, then we can potentially, like, you have to apply for it to be like listed and get an ABC like listing to be put on the shelves.
Yeah.
And so I think there's maybe like 30 stores or something that have the two we're talking about. And then there's like this whole long process. And then if it doesn't sell at the rate they want, they'll delist it.
Yeah.
And then they'll close it out and get rid of the code, and then you have to apply for recoding, and then there's like
That's all kind of red tape.
it's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot.
That's what Matt hadn't gotten into that yet. Well, he
Not
will.
yet.
He will with his
Yes.
new restaurant. didn't you?
Oh, Oh boy, yeah. Well, I can,
coach him.
yeah. Between Justin and I, we can give you all the stuff you want to know.
And I'm like you. I hate bullshit.
Yeah,
I hate it.
And that's all it is.
I hate it.
Bend over.
It's gonna be fun.
You're in a control state.
I'll just end the talk on ABC by saying there's an app if you haven't discovered it.
Oh yeah.
And the name of this app, everyone, that tells you what you can find where in what ABC store is named AL Boss.
Yep.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I'll tell you off air about that. I don't want to mention that on air.
But you can use that app actually to go in and look up
And it is a
Starlight
great app to
specifically.
find whatever-
It is, yeah.
what you need.
Yeah.
Now that app will have like all the Starlights listed,
Yeah.
and
And
anything we
quantity
have
at each
coded shows in that app. That doesn't mean you can get it
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
ABC stores, but
And
if
if
you
you
can, it'll
like
tell
it
you.
and select that as your brand, then it'll tell you where it is.
Where it is,
everywhere.
all that.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is really
it's great.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Well, that's a fantastic lineup you brought it. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks
Anything
for
else,
having me.
Anything else you want to add?
I think that's about it. Yeah. Some good conversation.
We should probably start over and go back down the line if we didn't have to adult stuff later.
If we didn't have to go pick up kids and feed them McDonald's,
All that stuff.
we would drink more.
We would. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you
appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a couple.